What's up, kings and queens? Today I'm going to be doing a bit of an episode on a few things that I've just rounded up, maybe things that I've pondered or things that I feel like I've reconciled within myself. We're fast approaching the end of the year, so if you're pumping it up and grinding, yeehaw, giddy up, don't go too hard, but in the spirit of that, I reckon we take a collective deep breath. And yeah, thanks for being here. I've got a few ideas written down here, so I'm just going to roll through my little list. First topic is going off that same topic that I kind of opened with, which is like the end of year buzz and how it feels like at the end of the year, it's like so much cramming and so much just like trying to tick this and that off and, you know, trying to get that creative project in and just round up that job or whatever it is. And it feels so fast moving, and just being able to be away from the screens for, oh shit, I just wrote on the wall. Being able to escape the screens for a little bit, I feel like will be so recharging. And yeah, I look forward to that. But yeah, I'm noticing a bit of a common theme across my humans. Everyone's just like absolutely smashing it and just pumping it up. So yeah, I hope if you're in that category as well, that you're looking after yourself at the same time. A stem from that is another idea that I have, which is how sometimes it's so tricky to go from idea to action. Like, it's so fun having all these ideas circling in your mind and pondering that and getting creative with the vision and all that jazz. But going to action is like really the part that I think I stumble on the most. For example, with the potty, I feel like I've been noticing myself recently kind of having to amp myself up to set the camera up and do it and, you know, think of topics and, you know, then you start to think like, are the things I'm talking about interesting topics? And, you know, it's not necessarily self-doubt, but it's just, you start to just feel like maybe it's time to pivot and maybe it's time to share something different. Anyway, mood follows action. I'll say it one more time. When we're feeling like a little bit low, emotional, anxious, or whatever it may be, move. It's easier to feel good about yourself when you're kind of doing things that you know that are challenging and that are, you know, I don't really like saying this, but they're hard. All creative ventures just have so much behind the scenes. It's crazy. This is one of my tips at the moment, is doing the hard or annoying or boring thing. And then just afterwards, just being like, sweet, you did that. Like, you didn't neglect it anymore. You're allowed to feel positive feelings. Shadow elements, I'm just kind of going to riff on it because it's something that's been open for me for years. And I'm not fully like, oh, I've reconciled my shadow. I'm just like, wow, I'm learning about it every day. So basically, the way that I see the shadow is unconscious parts of yourself that you haven't quite met yet. So I feel like you'll get kind of signs, certain things will keep kind of coming to the surface. And in my experience, what I used to do when things would come to the surface is that I'd build foundations around this particular pain point instead of like really getting to the root of it. So I just do certain things that would work for a little bit, but they weren't kind of like a long-term fix. So I feel like getting friendly with your shadow is something that is like so incredibly important and, you know, so daunting, so challenging, but so fucking rewarding. So that is definitely something that is going to be a focus for a while for me because, yeah, without dark, there is no light. So the rest of our lives is literally just going to be a cycle of death, rebirth, light, and dark. So I feel like I'm really interested in strapping in and getting to know more about the lighter aspects of myself and then also more about the heavier aspects of myself. And hopefully, the aim, the dream, the goal would be to be able to integrate them as fully as possible. I think the tricky part about shadow work is that, you know, it's hiding in the fucking dark. You can barely see it. I feel like the way I've gotten to know myself is through probably observation of other people and how I respond. And I feel like that's been super helpful, as well as, you know, asking friends to pull me up if they notice certain things, because a lot of our actions in a day are unconscious. They just happen fully on their own. Like, you can catch a lot of it, you can be super aware, but there's always going to be things you miss, which is so funny to just like realize that we're all going through life with full blind spots, like stuff that we're on autopilot. And yeah, it's kind of like a scary thing, but also a beautiful thing if you're surrounded by people who are open to, showing you in a soft way where you could do with some refining. So, the next topic that has been tickling my fancy is the topic of being yourself, and how I find it to be so critical to the masses, but also to the self, and kind of like the only way to live. And I think maybe the process of life is about that. It's just like getting to know yourself better and better and better. And then in turn, maybe that means more connection to other. But I'm not to know, because I'm still young, I haven't had enough experience. So yeah, that's something that I've really been focusing on recently is as well, if I integrate those shadow elements, it means that I'm a more kind of confident person, and just a person that is also going to be someone that motivates other people to fully just live in line with their own selves. The crazy thing about being yourself, I think, is that the full expression of yourself is a lot. Like, there is so much to be expressed, and a lot of parts of ourselves are not necessarily parts of ourselves that we're super proud of, or parts of ourselves that we fully reconciled. So I think a cool thing that I love to do is just to reaffirm people's quirks, because that promotes them doing it even more, and in turn being more themselves. Another theme that I've been noticing quite a lot of in the past couple of years is, or I have to say, I didn't notice it initially. It was my friend who pulled me up on it, but she was like, "You're scared of bigness." And I was like, "What do you mean? I don't really even understand that sentence. Like, show me this fear sort of vibe." And so from there, she just kind of started pulling me up when I like would squish myself. And yeah, you can do it in such like small, discreet ways, but it's really cool hanging out with her, because she just reminds me that, there's enough joy to go around. If people around you aren't happy, it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be happy. Something else that I've been frothing out on is just, if I am to notice certain emotions that are a bit more heavy, anxiety, heart pain, just like heaviness in the body, or just feelings that you would initially just be like, I'd prefer to run from this. I've been really enjoying the process of going into them and kind of amplifying them, and just being kind of like more inquisitive about them, and then just kind of sitting with them, and often seeing that you sit with heavy emotions, they do pass. Sometimes they're going to be, there for an extended amount of time, but that has to mean that it means there's more to learn from those emotions. So yeah, uh, the biggest elixir of life, breath. Any hard emotions can be soothed with breath. So yeah, huge, huge, huge recommendation of the day. So another reco of the day is being more observant of dreams, because there's so much goodness in there, and just like it's a full window to your subconscious mind. The stuff that comes through in dreams is just so incredible. And I always kind of saw it as like, no way, we just kind of like dream. It's just like a fun thing that happens, but it's just like nothing really is like that. It's like everything kind of has a place. So I feel like if while we're in rest, there's little stories playing in our minds, like they've got to mean something. So yeah, I've really been enjoying that, because if you have a window to that, it means that it's more ability to then rewire your brain, because recurring dreams mean something. Another thing I've been noticing around me is a lot of stress from others. And I'm just like, guys, it's 2024. We are not stressing anymore. So I feel like I've been spending quite a bit of time just kind of doing a little bit more movement and things like that. Learning a little bit more about energies. It's funny to picture the fact that we all have kind of layers of energy outside of us. And, if you're around heavy people, it just means that you pick up on heavy energy, and it just kind of can cling to you. And yeah, if you see it as matter, it makes sense. So it's just a crazy notion. So yeah, I've been enjoying just being like, yeah, is this my energy? Because I don't think it is. You can also think, fuck, I'm taking on this person's emotions, but they can also be yours. It's a you have to sit with it kind of thing. It's like a non-negotiable. We're not running away from emotions anymore. Like, you can pop them on pause if there's something you need to do, and be like, all right, I'm going to come back to you later. But if you just push it down, it's going to come back up. It's going to just like, it's like it'll just build pressure and then it'll come out like crazy. So yeah, best to just tackle it before it becomes this huge thing. So another thing I wanted to talk about is such a cool mentality, which my friend Ree does so well, which is basically having a nothing to lose mentality. God, she lives her life so open. Yeah, she's someone that teaches me so much about honesty, unconditional love, just letting go of things and moving through life and just not being too heady. Yeah, so she lives this mentality so well. She's so bold. That's been so cool to be around because now I feel like I sort of move through life and work and quoting and dating and friendship and expression and things like that. And I'm just like, as much as I possibly can, I'm just like, I have absolutely nothing to lose here. I feel like in this lifetime, we all have to come face to face with rejection in all aspects of life because the more you put yourself out there, the more you're going to be rejected. It's all part of it, but I feel like your path creates so much resilience. So, like, why would you want it any other way? So that's something I'm really enjoying practicing in all aspects of my life. It's just kind of like, yeah, not thinking too much, feeling a little bit more, being quite, uh, yeah, as detached as humanly possible. I think that's a never ending process. Yeah, I feel my throat like fucking clogging up when I say that. It's so funny. But yeah, I think my next topic is something that I fucking love that has also gotten me into a lot of trouble, which is charm. Adore charm. And something that I've been realizing is that charm is only really cool when it's comes with sincerity. So there can be like greasy charm and there can be sincere charm. The person who taught me this is actually my friend Harry, who is so incredibly charming with everyone, so good with like parents, so good with the granny, so good with like the women and the men. And he's just on. And he has that. And then he also has just such a beautiful nature about him. And I feel like, living in the Northern Rivers in the Byron area, I'm sorry to say, but there's a lot of charm getting around that's insincere. And yeah, I thought it was really cool. So now when I notice charm again, it clubs me. It clubs me. When I notice it, I have to be like, all right, Cap, there it is. There's charm. Don't get too caught up. Because women, we love words. We adore words. Another thing that I've been frothing out on is the idea that we're all basically living our lives listening to a story in our mind, and we have certain beliefs, and they truly do navigate our daily decisions and in turn what we then receive. So I feel like something I've really been enjoying is spending a little bit of time up here and disconnecting from certain stories because a lot of them that circle up here are just bullshit. So, since they do govern our lives, I find that it's really cool to just, get a little bit intentional with certain stories that do circulate your mind. Like on a good day, what are you thinking? On a day that's less than favorable, what are you thinking? I love that exercise and I love just reminding myself that stories govern our lives. So, our thoughts are our friends, basically. So, the healthier the inner monologue, the more in line your steps forward are going to feel. I've also really been fucking frothing this so much, which is taking time with communication and just being really intentional with what comes out of my mouth. I can be really rogue sometimes, and I think we all probably can, but yeah, maybe I need to get a better grasp on my rogueness, or maybe I just need to fucking accept it. Who knows? But I feel like something that I've really been focusing on is just pausing before I speak and just really thinking into things and instead of rambling, just being like, this is succinct. So, yeah, that's been helping me so much. I feel like getting closer to the end of the year is just such a good time to drop as much as you can, round out as much as you can, and head into 2025. That's a clean number. That's a clean number. 2025. Let's go. It feels like the end of a big cycle in my eyes. So what do I want to leave behind in this year moving forward? I've noticed a common theme while doing a little quiz on the gram is that a lot of people are thinking a lot about their purpose and what they're here to do, soul mission, whatever you want to call it. So it's been also something that's been on my mind too. And I feel like the way that I've gotten a little bit closer to understanding what I want to do is to kind of ask myself what in life has touched me the most. And that I feel like might have a bit of an answer in there, because if we can do the thing that we have been impacted the most and gift that to other people, like imagine what that will do. So yeah, instead of putting like pressure on myself to find out what it is that I'm here to do, it's like I'm going to make this little step and that could potentially open a door there. And you know, you could go to that place and meet that person who introduces you to that person who offers you this opportunity. It's lots of action and then pairing that action with rest and moving into 2025 and being like, the focuses are really quite clear, and we're not going to go into the new year just fully bent. Oh, I'm not. You can absolutely go for it. I did that last year. It was mint, but it took me 7 days to recover. So I'm not going to, oh, I could do it again. I'm in a clearer headspace. I'll report back. Anyway, I'm gonna round it out here. Thanks for listening, and as always, thanks for the support.